I like your background.
Oh yeah, it's pretty nice. Well,
Good work.
I likewise just saw the movie. So I'm here
Oh,
with
cool.
Jon Berg, the producer of Ordinary Angels. And I'm looking at your producer history, and it's quite vast. And I've only talked to a couple of producers before, and I get the sense that if I ask 100 producers the same question, I'll get 100 different answers. What's your take on this? Like, what is it that a producer does, and like, um, what's kind of your take on what your job is as a producer? Like, what
Sure.
are you trying to accomplish?
Sure. It's a great question. And by the way, there probably are 100 different answers that you'll get because there are different kinds of producers. Some producers are physical producers, so they're there to figure out a budget and how to maximize a budget. Some are bringing financing to the table. Some are attached to talent and are partnered with the talent or a director. So there's all different kinds. I'm the kind of producer where I find a piece of material, I find a script. In this case, I was introduced to it by Dave Matthews, had a meeting with him, and he's hilarious, by the way. He's such a talented musician, but he's also like a stand-up comedian. We had a great meeting. And then in the meeting, at the end of it, he said, "Hey, I should tell you about something that I'm producing." And he had developed a script and told me about the true story of the Schmidt family and Sharon Stevens, and I was blown away. And and I asked if I could become a part of it and help him to get the movie made, and he agreed. And so from that moment forward, which was like 2018, then as a producer, I set the movie up at Lionsgate, had a breakfast with the president of production over there, as an old friend, pitched him the story, told him about it. He fell in love with it. He read the script. He was like, I got to make this movie. So he, Nathan Kahane, and then his executive in charge, Aaron Westerman, came on. They read the script, they loved it, they wanted to make it. And then as a producer, look, I developed a couple of drafts of the script. Lionsgate introduced me to the Kingdom guys and to John Gunn. And once you have, John Gunn came on to direct, and once that happened, we got the movie greenlit at the studio. And then you're there, then it's the fun of you actually get to make the movie, right? So it's hiring heads of department and figuring out where you're going to shoot the movie and how you're going to shoot the movie and how you're going to work with weather. And we needed snow, but then we also needed springtime and all of that. So you figure all that out, and then you're on set for you casting the movie. I was active in casting Alan Ritchson and Hilary Swank, and I'm so glad that we did. And then you're there for the production of the movie. You're working creatively on the movie. There are problems that arise, or you're trying to problem solve, but you're trying to capture what is in the screenplay. And then in post, post is one of the most crucial parts of the process, right? Because you're editing the movie, visual effects are coming together in the movie, score is coming together in the movie, needle drops, songs that are being used are coming together in the movie. Editorial is a huge part of the process, and then that yields the film, and then you're working with the studio. So that's what a producer does. You're working with the studio at the last stage is on a release strategy, and when we were going to release in October, and then we moved to February now. We had an actors strike, so it's a long-winded way of saying you're all different kinds of producers. You can be involved in different ways. I'm the kind of producer that's sort of involved from the inception point all the way through to Friday, February 23rd, and the release of the movie.
And I saw that on here that you were the one that basically bought the rights to the Bourne Identity, and you're kind of instrumental in starting that. And
Yeah.
I, what's that like? Like, what's the thing that fires off in the back of your head saying, "Oh, this is going to be a good one," or do you just not know and it just became a hit, and you're like, "Well, cool, I knew it all along."
No, you definitely, it's a great question. Listen, I've had some luck certainly some of it is luck, right? But, you're a film lover. I love movies. You're looking for that thing when you read a script, or in that case, Doug Liman. So in the case of the Bourne series, I was an executive at Universal, and Doug Liman pitched me the story, and then I read the book. shortly thereafter. But he pitched me the story, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool, right?" It's like you're looking for a concept or a way in or something that you think's really going to resonate with people. That's going to get people excited, you know. So yeah, you're weighing lots of things in your head. In that case with Bourne, there wasn't a script yet. We had the book and Doug, and I loved Go, and I loved Swingers that he made before that, and I believed in him as a director. So it's always about the talent that's partnered into the material or the concept, right? And you're hoping that you put it together in the right way. It's got the right concept and then the right talent, both in front of the camera and behind the camera, that you make something extraordinary. And every now and then, you know, you hopefully you make something that really connects with people and stays with them.
Is there any sort of like stress that comes or maybe doesn't come with like a movie like Ordinary Angels? Seems like a smaller budget movie,
Yeah,
maybe less risk as compared to like what you did with like Wonder Woman or Aquaman, where like I granted Wonder Woman and Aquaman were hits, but man, you're playing with a lot of money and oh God, I hope this works out. What's the difference between working on smaller movies and bigger movies?
that's a great question too. The end goal is exactly the same, which is that you want to make something that really connects with people, that's meaningful to them, that they enjoy, that they're psyched about. And just the bigger ones, you have more resources. That's really what it comes down to. Yes, there are sort of like bigger kind of action or spectacle expectations of the bigger ones, but you also, working at Warner Brothers, working on big tentpole movies, you have the best in the world, doing the visual effects and the stunts, and so you have a deep pool of resources on a movie like Ordinary Angels, which doesn't have massive stunts, or we have some visual effects for the end of the movie, the snowfall, but you're really just you're trying to tell an authentic story. You're trying to tell a story with honesty and realism, but also humor, and there's some emotion to it. So yeah, it's they're you sort of you approach them really the same, which is you want to do the same, which is tell a great story and to have people enjoy it, and have the movie experience be positive, and then the money helps to buy some of the spectacle for the big ones, but it all comes down to acting and a lot of similar things they share.
And I'm looking at your IMDb, and based on what I saw on the email of your credits, IMDb is nowhere near comprehensive. But of the movies you've worked on, like what's one that you're particularly proud of? Like, oh, like I really nailed it with this one, and maybe it was a hit, maybe it wasn't, I don't know, but like something that you were just
Sure.
really, really personal to you and really close to you.
Yeah. I mean, I've been lucky, I've been around a couple. I mean, so I'm thrilled that this movie turned out so well, and I think it can move people, and I think it's emotionally honest, and I love the performances. So I'm proud of this one. Look, Elf has stuck around for 20 years, so that's kind of incredible. I'm proud of the Bourne Identity, that series, being involved with that. I'm proud of Sherlock Holmes that I was involved with at Warner Brothers, and Edge of Tomorrow at Warner Brothers, and Argo and American Sniper, and there were lots. Really proud of Wonder Woman. It was the first female superhero lead film. And I'm really proud of that movie. I think that movie really worked out, and I'm proud of made a small movie. My first movie that I was an executive producer on way back when, which I think the movie really turned out as a movie called Out of Time with
Denzel.
Denzel Washington, and Carl Franklin. So yeah, listen, just the fact that I'm still, that I'm talking to you and I'm still hanging around all these years later, I'm doing something right.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Edge of Tomorrow. I remember that. Uh, I don't usually follow box office because I'm not a producer, so it didn't really concern me. But I remember Edge of Tomorrow before it came out, there was like not much fanfare about it. But then once
Hmm.
it hit, like everyone that saw it was like, dude. you got to go watch Edge of Tomorrow. Like, what's that kind of like? Like having some from your perspective, I don't.
Yeah.
Did you have kind of the same thing? Like, oh, I don't know if this is going to do, and then it just kind of hits.
It was so that movie is interesting because it's I think that movie really, I mean, it worked okay in the theater. You know, it was an expensive movie and it did okay. It didn't make, you know, half a billion or three quarters of a billion or $1 billion. It wasn't a massive success, but it really was it did okay. And then it became on you know, PVOD on you know, video on demand, and then, you know, on digital. It became something, and then I think I was on Netflix too. It was one of those things that people discovered, you know, more and more and more. So it's cool that one. I mean, I love that movie. I think it Doug did an amazing job. You know, Doug, who I met on the Bourne Identity and then hired again on Edge of Tomorrow. But that's a cool one because it had more of a slow kind of peak, you know, over time, you know, as more and more people found it and dug it. And it's interesting because it's you know, it's got that Groundhog Day kind of concept, but with a sci-fi in a sci-fi movie, and it's got humor to it, you know, right? It's like it's unusual, like it's not what you expect from a Tom Cruise movie, which is kind of, maybe you expect something a little bit more straight ahead, you know, and kind of you know, action oriented. But yeah, and it was awesome, man. I mean, Tom Cruise was fantastic to work with, and the whole team. So yeah, that was a good
I,
one.
I guess you don't, I don't know, maybe you do, but I don't see like the, you know, because like movies can come out in theater, like back when
Sure.
physical media was a bigger thing, movies could come out in theaters and maybe not do well, but they hit
Yeah.
DVD and just do
Yeah.
gangbusters. Is there any kind of, sort of fix to that with the new digital medium?
Yeah, I mean, I think that can still happen. I mean, look, the fact that Ordinary Angels is coming out in a movie theater is, or movie theaters, is awesome. I mean, that doesn't happen all the time anymore, as you know, with streaming. So 2,900 screens. This is the type of movie that I think you want to experience in a theater. It's a community experience type of thing. And I'm thrilled that people get a chance to see it with one another in a theater because for me personally, those experiences are always the most memorable. I mean, I think it's really important for films to be seen with audiences. That's my own 2 cents. But without question, you know, streaming also allows people to discover stuff more and more. And for movies and TV to have second and third, you know, sort of cycles. You know, so yeah, you know, there's more opportunity now for a movie to kind of come back around. And it's kind of, you know, I'm old enough where we used to have, you know, it was on cable, and like movies would rotate through cable. So you'd get that kind of second life through cable, and then, you know, maybe a third spin. But you know, but then kind of a movie would disappear. And now it seems like, you know, we have more access to them and they can stick around for longer.
Yeah. Well, speaking of theaters, Ordinary Angels will be available in theaters nationwide on February 23rd, and I hope everyone goes to see it. John, thank you for joining me. You've been a wealth of information, and I enjoyed talking with you.
Me too. Thanks so much. Thanks for support of the movie. It's a good one. Yeah, go see Ordinary Angels in the theater, February 23rd.
All right, I'll co-sign that. Thanks, John.
All right. See ya.